What's up, you guys? It's Mrs. Fairbanks here, and I am going to be recording some instructional videos for you today for our informative writing unit. So yes, we are at my house. I'm in my comfy, warm clothes because it's snowing outside. I got my candle going, I got my blanket nice and cozy, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. So this first video is just to kind of introduce you to this video process and how I expect you guys to be working through your informative writing unit. So this unit is going to sort of hopefully kind of remind you of your ingenuity lessons, just in the fact that you're gonna have these videos to work through at your own pace. And then that way you for sure have a lesson on every little part of informative writing. And then of course, if you have questions in class, I'll be right there to help you just like I always am. But this way you've got the videos and you have kind of the meat of what you need to learn and what you're expected to do. So our unit is going to be split up into 4 different lessons, and each of the lessons will contain different amounts of videos, just depending on, you know, how long or important the section is. And you'll just work through the videos, and I'll have some activities for you to do in class, and you'll work through these as part of your weekly task lists that we talked about last week. So, sorry about that. I'm not used to recording these videos, so hopefully this will be a good way for you to learn, but also kind of fun for you guys as I sort of maybe make a fool out of myself. So here we go. I hope you enjoy this way of learning, and I hope that we can have some fun along the way. All right, so now that you've been introduced to our video process, I want to kind of introduce you guys to informative writing. I know that some of you have probably done informative writing before and remember it from past ELA classes, but I wanted to give you just a really, really basic definition of what informative writing is and why it's important. So informative writing is exactly what it sounds like from the title. It's writing that informs or explains things to your reader. Informative writing is not something that we're going to use to persuade or to argue. That's going to be argumentative writing, which will come later in the year. Okay, so your informative writing is just where you're going to pick a topic or use a prompt that I give you, and you're going to explain and inform your readers about whatever it is that you're talking about. So the reason that informative writing is so important is because when you combine informative writing and argumentative writing, you get the most important type of writing that you will use all throughout the rest of junior high, all throughout high school, all throughout college if you decide to go that route, and just in your life. And that type of writing is called literary analysis. Okay, so literary analysis kind of combines informational or informative writing and argumentative writing, and it's where you're trying to prove a point about a text that you've read. So anyway, like I said, it's kind of a stepping stone. You have to get really pretty good at the informative writing first. You have to get really pretty good at the argumentative writing, and then you've got to be able to read a text, really dissect it using that annotation skill that we've been working on in class, and learn how to prove a point about texts that you've read. So we're working on our first stepping stone right now, and that's the informative writing, where you're just learning how to explain and inform your readers in a very clear and logical and concise way. All right, so let's talk about the writing process. So the writing process for your informative writing is going to be quite a bit different from the writing process that we used for your narrative writing. And there is one major difference between the two writing processes, and that is planning. Okay, so with your narrative writing, I like to go the route of not doing a whole bunch of planning. And if you remember, we did our quick write where I gave you 6 minutes to just think of a crazy story in your head and get it down on a piece of paper. And then using that, we went back to it, we expanded it, we organized it and developed it. We added in our sensory language and our descriptive details. And we just used that little paragraph that you got out at the beginning and expanded it into this big story, right? Well, with your with your informative writing, we're going to take a totally different approach, and we're going to do a lot of planning first. So to complete that planning, we're going to do what's called a pre-write. A pre-write is where you choose a clear topic, and then you usually either fill out a graphic organizer to plan your writing, or you create an outline for your writing. So you can either do a graphic organizer or create an outline. Both work well. It's just kind of different brains like different things. So we're going to talk in the next video about graphic organizers and creating outlines.